Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, I am going to be continuing my life update today, right now, okay? Like right now. So, I do have to give you a forewarning, and if you haven't seen the video from yesterday, okay, make sure you go see it because we left off on that video with a cliffhanger, okay? And we're gonna be picking right back up, all right? So, like I was mentioning in the last video, I had a pretty crazy childhood. A lot of wild things happened essentially within the first 7 years of my life. And so, after my grandfather passed away, things got like really, really complicated, really tough. But over time, I essentially got kind of back into the groove a little bit. And the gentleman, Robert Dooley, that my grandfather knew, that he was in the army with, he like really stepped up to the plate. Okay, he became essentially my best friend, and basically my fill-in grandfather, literally like right away. And so him and his wife Judy, they're both incredible people. Okay, both live down in Florida, so every year on Veterans Day we went down to visit the two of them. And I'll tell you, we always had such a great time together. A lot of just absolutely incredible stories. And again, I'll make a separate video to talk more about my grandfather and Robert Dooley here in a bit. But we'll essentially just keep going on my life story here, okay? So, we kept visiting them every year, and there was one. And so when I was in middle school, I started running cross country, which was awesome. It was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made because it really allowed me to, come out of my shell a little bit more, especially since I was so quiet. I was such an introvert. I was definitely kept to myself a lot. And being on a team and being able to run with a team was really, I think, one of the big things that was able to really bring me to who I am today, because I was able to interact with all the other folks and really be able to really have a sense of that strong competition. And for about the 3 or 4 years that I ran cross country in middle school, it was great. Okay, I was one of, and not only like the competition side of it, but some of the friendships that I formed out of the team was essentially crucial to my development. It was incredible. Okay, some of the best people I've ever met, and I'm still talking to some of those folks today, and I'm telling you, they are great people. And so it wasn't until like around the summer of 2012 when my sister and I were gonna go down to Robert Dooley and Judy's house to as unaccompanied. Like we're gonna fly down there as unaccompanied minors, and we were going to spend 2 weeks with them, and we were just gonna do a whole bunch of awesome stuff with them. They were planning it out, and a lot of the things that they were telling us that we were planning on doing sounded like a ton of fun. And so we were just about to go and book the tickets for the airlines, and we got a message from Robert Dooley's wife Judy saying, "Hey, by the way, don't book the tickets quite yet. Bob Dooley just came down with cancer. They found it early on. It's really in the really early stages of it. The cancer is just in one tiny little area, and they can probably take care of it, in one quick surgery, and they can just dive right in the area, take it out, and he should be good to go." And so that's what they did. He had the surgery. The surgery went really well. They were able to get the area without really any difficulty. And so, Judy called us back, and she was like, "Okay, things are going really, really well. But let's just hold on for a little bit longer, just to confirm, so we can all be 100% sure that he's back and ready to rock and roll, and we're officially good to go." So that's what we did. We waited a couple weeks. We kept checking in. I kept calling Bob Dooley, and I kept talking to him, and I kept talking to Judy, checking in, making sure everything was all right. And we about a few weeks after that initial talk of that everything was going okay, we ended up getting a call back and with from Judy saying that the cancers can't come back on a surprise note, and not only is it spreading to new areas, but it's spreading rather quickly. And so that led to, obviously the two of them going back to the hospital. And, over time, his symptoms just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it got to a point in like that September of 2012 where, again, he was put on hospice just because his conditions were not good whatsoever. And the doctors essentially were giving him either a couple days, a couple hours, a couple weeks, to live. And like I said with my grandfather, it comes to a point where they just, which is like terrible about cancer, is so many different things can happen that they just don't really know for sure. And so, again, like I said, this was in September at this point, and so, we never went down in September. We usually went down on Veterans Day weekend in November, or like we were planning, we would go down in the summer. And so there was one night when I walked in my mother's room and to ask her a quick question, and she was on her computer booking plane tickets down to Florida. I looked at her. I was like, "What's going on? Why are we going to Florida? Like, we never go to Florida at this time. This is really weird. Like, let's just go Veterans Day weekend." And she's like, "Yeah, look, like, Bob Dooley's like about to die. Like, he's not looking good whatsoever. And so we're going down this weekend. And we have to say goodbye to him." And so, that weekend we got up really early Friday morning, or that morning, then whatever day we left, and we packed up our bags. We had somebody drive us over to the Logan Airport over in Boston. We flew down there. We landed in Florida just before noon, and so we went over to a restaurant right by their house. We had a quick meal to eat, and we brought a meal home to Judy. And so one thing I do want to mention about Bob Dooley right now before I make a special video on them is that Bob Dooley was one of those classic Irish guys. All right, like he was a very an incredible person. Okay, he was a very loud person like I am. Okay, whenever he spoke, he just spoke really, really, really loud. Okay, classic Irish beer belly, always happy, always jolly. Okay, just always go, and that's always something I really admired about him. And so when we walked into his house, it was just again one of those images that I'll never get out of my mind. So we walked in, and there he was, just super frail, super weak, barely able to move, barely able to talk, and just to see the difference from him as he was as that jolly, happy, always going kind of person to just being incredibly weak was just. It was honestly, to me, it was frustrating. Because again, I was thinking about my grandfather, I was thinking about him. Like, how could, something this terrible happen to such a great person? Was essentially what was going through my mind. And so, we walked over to him, we said, "Hi, how's it going?" And, we're talking, and, he was trying the best he could to, hold the conversation. And just to see, the joy on his face, just to see us, it was incredible, to say the least. And so, we hung out with him. There were some of our other close family friends throughout the day were with us as well. And so we were all hanging out, and it got to a point where we were all talking about, all of our favorite stories and all of our favorite times that we had with Bob Dooley and all that great stuff. And, we were all, really happy and like a lot of good laughs going around, and we were all having a great time. And Bob Dooley, was laughing as well. And it got to a point later that evening where the nurse that was with us, the nurse from the hospital that was with us in the house, brought all the adults into one of the bedrooms out in the back of their house, and at the moment I didn't really know what they're talking about, but when they came back out, they were all crying, and it kind of set off an alarm in my mind, saying, okay, that was not a good talk, and he probably might be going really soon. And so, the evening continued to pass, and then it was getting to a point where, Bob Dooley was definitely starting to go. And we all, were giving him a hug. I remember Judy, giving him a hug across his chest. And then I was holding his left hand, I was like, Bob Dooley, love you, and I'll see you in a little while, okay? And then I remember him going, and, it was really tough. It was just a really, really tough moment, okay? Because not only did I see, my grandfather pass away, a few, 6 years earlier, but here we go again, seeing another one of my superheroes pass away right in front of me yet again. And so that night, he was, taken away, and then for the next video, and then so I'm gonna end this video here, okay? And for the next video, we'll just continue my life journey, and we'll go from there. All right. So, as always, a huge shout out to the frontline workers. Your work is greatly appreciated, and I'll see y'all soon. All right.